There's a certain magic that happens when technology meets wilderness, when a precision-made camera stands beneath a sky full of ancient stars. The journey with the Hasselblad X2D II through the Swiss Alps is exactly that, a delicate conversation between human curiosity and nature's vastness. The story begins with the faint click of a tripod settling into snow and the whisper of cold wind brushing against metal. Everything is still. The horizon glows faintly where the last traces of sunset fade into a deep indigo ocean of night. The photographer, bundled up and determined, isn't there for easy shots. This expedition is a test of endurance, patience, and the raw capability of the X2D II when pushed far beyond comfort. The higher you climb, the quieter the world becomes. The crunch of boots on frost, the exhale of frozen breath, and the careful rustle of lens caps and filters punctuate the silence. Above, the stars sharpen as the air thins, each one reflecting off the glass elements of the lens like tiny sparks. The filmmaker begins the ritual of setting up, leveling the tripod, locking the head, adjusting the composition with a calm precision that only comes from years of experience. The goal isn't just to take photos, it's to stretch the limits of exposure and light, to see what happens when a camera designed for perfection is left alone in darkness for 10 long minutes. As the first exposure begins, time slows down. 10 minutes feels eternal when you're standing still in freezing temperatures. The shutter opens, and the world becomes invisible. What the eyes can no longer see, the sensor begins to collect faint trails of light, tiny movements of stars, the subtle glow from distant mountain villages. What's invisible to the human eye starts to bloom in the silence, captured one photon at a time. The first results appear like whispered revelations. The stars seem to drift across the frame, their trails bending gently as if painted by hand. The snow on the peaks reflects a blue-white shimmer, soft but defined. There's no noise, no muddiness in the shadows, just clarity. The Hasselblad sensor holds every tone as if sculpting the night from glass. You can almost feel the cold light pouring through the lens, freezing itself onto the digital canvas. Up there, surrounded by vastness, the camera feels alive. It hums quietly between exposures, heat radiating faintly as the long shutters and sensor work together. The filmmaker moves with ritual-like focus, brushing frost off buttons, swapping batteries, covering the lens to prevent condensation. There's a kind of respect between artist and machine, the kind that only grows when you're hours deep into solitude with no one but a camera to talk to. The next series of exposures grow even longer. The technique sharpens, ISO pulled lower, aperture refined, shutter release triggered remotely to avoid even the slightest vibration. Every movement is deliberate. Every frame, at tiny risk because any mistake at 10 minutes means waiting 10 more to correct it. The stakes are high, but that's what makes the process addictive. The satisfaction when everything aligns as sky, composition, exposure, and patience is worth every frozen fingertip. The visuals emerging from the X2D's files are astonishing. The details in the mountain ridges remain tack-sharp even in the faintest light, the stars pinpricks of perfection. The shadows hold texture rather than black voids. The gradient of the sky transitions seamlessly from the deep navy of space to the soft, almost metallic blue of pre-dawn. There's a painterly quality to it all, as if the camera isn't just recording light but interpreting it. Throughout the night, challenges pile up. The temperature dips below freezing, batteries drain faster than expected, and the wind threatens to nudge the tripod mid-exposure. Yet the filmmaker adapts. Spare batteries are tucked close to the body for warmth, the camera is shielded with cloth, and the tripod legs are weighted with a backpack. Between exposures, there are moments of quiet, the photographer sipping hot coffee from a flask, staring up at the glowing sky with a half-smile, knowing the real beauty won't be visible until the shutter clicks shut. One of the most striking sequences happens on a ridge overlooking a frozen lake. The camera is tilted upward, the Milky Way slicing across the frame like a cosmic river. Over 10 minutes, the stars arc delicately, forming trails that suggest motion without chaos. The reflection in the lake creates a symmetry so perfect it's hard to believe it wasn't painted. The ground remains crisp and moving but counterpoint to the swirling heavens. The result feels less like a photograph and more like a window into time itself. You start to see why the filmmaker brought a medium format powerhouse into this landscape. The X2D II isn't just durable, it has a soul for subtlety. Where many sensors would introduce noise or banding, this one captures quiet gradations of tone. Where others might crush shadows, this one whispers detail into the darkness. Even the glow of distant cabin lights miles away remains controlled, natural, and cinematic. It's as though the camera understands restraint. As the hours pass, the process becomes meditative. The camera clicks open, the stars drift, and the artist waits. In those long minutes, thoughts wandered about light, about how fleeting each exposure truly is, and about how much of photography is really about patience. Each shot is a lesson in surrender. You can plan, predict, and prepare, but once the shutter opens, the universe takes over. When morning approaches, the sky starts to pale, revealing the faint outlines of snow ridges and frozen trees. The session comes to an end, and with it, a quiet sense of triumph. The files are reviewed on screen, and each image carries its own mood, as some stark and icy, others glowing with warmth from hidden light sources. Every photo feels like a piece of the night transformed into something tangible. In the editing phase, the details come alive even more. Zooming into the raw files reveals textures invisible to the naked eye: frost crystals, distant constellations, even faint wisps of high-altitude clouds that barely existed. The resolution allows for massive prints without losing clarity, making each frame a world of its own. You begin to appreciate how much information 10 minutes of light can contain when the right tool captures it. But beyond the technology, what stays with you is the emotion of the journey. The film doesn't just celebrate specs or sharpness, it celebrates the act of exploration. There's laughter when the wind topples the camera cover, frustration when frost fogs the lens, and genuine awe when the first successful shot glows on the screen. It's raw and real, the way art should be. Even viewers who may never hike into the Alps at midnight can feel the pull. It's an invitation to look up, to notice the slow dance of the stars, to remember that time is something we can actually see if we wait long enough. The video quietly reminds us that photography isn't about instant gratification. It's about giving light the time to reveal its secrets. The final gallery of images feels like standing in a museum of silence, immense panoramas of starlit peaks, silver lakes, and velvety skies. Some frames are almost abstract, where the line between heaven and earth blurs. Others are intimate, focusing on small details like frost-coated rocks or faint reflections in the snow. Each image holds a story of its own, a 10-minute collaboration between patience, nature, and a machine engineered to see beyond human limits. As the credits roll, the message lingers. The Hasselblad X2D II isn't just a camera, it's a vessel for curiosity. It proves that technology can translate emotion when guided by someone willing to wait. The Alps become more than a backdrop, they become a character, silent and grand, testing both artist and equipment. The night becomes a teacher, showing that darkness isn't the absence of light but a canvas waiting to be written upon. When it's over, you can almost feel the urge to step outside yourself, to grab your camera, no matter the model, and point it at the night sky. Maybe your stars won't look like those in the Alps, but the feeling will be the same. That mix of anticipation, silence, and wonder when the shutter finally opens. That's what this journey gives you, not just stunning images, but the reminder that the world still holds beauty you can only see when you slow down and let light do its quiet work.